Hello Year 7 and welcome to Lesson 2 of Development. This lesson looks particularly at development measures. The lesson is due in by Thursday the 30th of April. Please upload to Teams or email to your geography teacher. What I would like you to do is copy the title from the slide and think about the connect. Please press pause to do this. Please listen to me read the keywords. These are infant mortality, life expectancy, birth rate, literacy rate and human development index. Please copy the words and the definitions from the slide and then answer these connect questions. Press pause now to do this. Please press pause and green pen your answers now. So the first thing we're going to look at is how development indicators work. This is an Activate activity. One development indicator can tell us multiple things. So what do we mean by development indicator? It's a measure of quality of life in a country and it's numerical. Maybe percentage, maybe dollars, maybe a number. Development indicators are used to show the progress of a country in meeting a range of economic, money, social, people, and environmental, nature factors. We looked at literacy rates last week, the number of people in a country who can read and write. The UK had 99% literacy rate, and a country in Africa such as Sudan has a literacy rate of 60%. Not everyone has a chance to go to school. So what else can we learn about the development of a country from literacy rates? Press pause now and write some of your ideas. Check your answers now. We're now going to think about the problem with using just one development indicator. For example, GDP per capita, gross domestic product per capita, which was the total number of goods and services sold by a country divided by its population, how much money a country has per person. Copy the statement in your books and answer it. Can we therefore conclude that everyone in the UK earns this? Press pause now to answer this question. Now copy this information into your books. We are going to understand the HDI or Human Development Index. What does this mean? Well, it's a way of measuring the development within each country by using three measurements or indicators. Life expectancy of birth, how long someone is expected to live. So for example, in the UK, someone is expected to live to an average of 77 years. Average education level. So in the UK, 100% of the population are educated. And standard of living, GDP per capita. So for this demonstrate task, you're going to create your own development indicator table. So now I'm going to explain the whole task and then show you each part. You will firstly copy the table from the next slide. Then you will listen to me explain the indicators and look at the indicator table. Then you will use your times tables to fill the numbers into the indicator table to work out the development of each country. And finally, you will create a bar chart of the results. Please do not copy this table. Here are 6 key indicators of a country's development. And on this table, we have 6 countries and we have 6 development indicators. And we're going to focus on just Brazil and the UK for our example. So GDP per capita is in dollars. And Brazil is $8,900 per capita and the UK is $43,000 per capita. Life expectancy, we're talking about years. So 67 years for Brazil and 77 years for the UK. For safe water, we are talking about percent, so 72% for Brazil and 100% for the UK. Again, for adult literacy, we're talking about percent, so 83% in Brazil and 99% in the UK. Children aged 5 to 11 in primary school, we're talking about percent, so 90% in Brazil and 100% in the UK. And cars are per 1,000, so 79 cars per 1,000 in Brazil and 399 cars per 1,000 in the UK. This means that there are more cars in the UK than per 1,000 people than there are in Brazil. Please copy this table into your books. You do not need to use colour. Press pause now. We are now going to rank our countries by GDP per capita. The UK has $43,000 per capita. It is the highest figure in the table. We will rank this 6th. Japan has a GDP of $39,500, so we will rank this 5th. China has a GDP of $9,700, so we will rank this 4th. Brazil has a GDP of $8,900, so we will rank this 3rd. India has a GDP of $2,000 per capita, so we will rank this 2nd. And finally, Zambia has a GDP of $1,500 per capita, and we will rank this 1st. Now we have to work out the development factor, so we multiply all of these rankings by 6. Next, you do the same for life expectancy, but make sure you multiply the rankings by 5. So Japan has the longest life expectancy, so that is ranked 6, and I would times that by 5. Press pause now to complete this part of the table. Check your answers, press pause now. And again, for percentage of people with access to safe water, have a go at ranking and multiplying by 4 yourself. Press pause now to complete this task. Green pen your answers. And again for adult literacy, have a go at ranking and multiplying by 3 yourself. Now here we have 2 countries with the same percentage. They both receive the same score of 6, and the next country gets a 4 ranking. Press pause now to complete this yourself. Please check your answers. And again, for percentage of children aged 5 to 11 in primary school, have a go at ranking and multiplying by 2. Be aware that 2 of the countries have the same percentage. And check your answers. Finally, rank the number of cars per 1,000 people and multiply by 1. And check your answers. The final part of the table is to work out the HDI total. To do this, you add up the multiplied rankings for each column. So for Brazil, I would add up 18, 15, 8, 12, 4 and 4. And I would get a HDI total of 61. Please now complete the table for the rest of the countries. Please check your answers. So let's rank the countries in order of their Human Development Index. Please copy and complete the table in your books. Please check your answers. It's important to notice that if a country gets a HDI of more than 100, it is a developed country. Let's create the bar chart. You'll need a ruler or something you can use that has a straight edge. You can create this in your books, on paper or in MS Word. Press pause after each stage to complete in your book. First write the title of the bar chart and draw your Y-axis. Now draw your X-axis. Now we're going to create the first bar for the UK, so the bar needs to go up to 120. I'm going to draw my line at 120. And now I'm going to draw the vertical line to create the bar. Press pause to complete this part of the bar chart. Please complete the rest of the bar chart. It is really important that you do not colour in your chart. Press pause. We're now going to add the dotted line at 100, as this is the cut-off point to be classed as developed. Press pause to add the dotted line onto your bar chart. The countries that scored over 100 are developed, and we colour those countries in blue. I'm now going to introduce a third group of development countries. These are called NEEs, or Newly Emerging Economies. As you can see, there is a big difference between China, with their HDI measurement of 79, and Zambia, with a HDI measurement of 26. You can see that development can vary wildly between developing countries, due to the group of countries being somewhat more developed than others in the developing countries grouping. But still, these countries are some distance from the developed countries, as you can see here. So we need a third classification. This is known as Emerging Economies, or NEEs. Finally, we have our developing countries, and these are coloured red. Press pause now to add the key and to colour in your bar chart. So if we now have three groups of countries, is the Brandt line still relevant? We could say that this theory is no longer valid in modern day context because some of the world's strongest and fastest growing economies in India, China and Brazil, coloured yellow and orange, lie below the Brandt line in areas still deemed poor south. These countries are called newly emerging economies. Please press pause to copy this text. Developing countries such as Zambia have a lot of agriculture. They grow food, and most people live in the countryside. 75% of people living in Zambia work on farms. Countries such as China, Brazil and India are rapidly developing. The number and size of the countries are growing. These are big countries with big populations and large areas of land. The number of factories there are increasing, and they make products such as clothes, smartphones and cars. We can see that the blue countries are clearly developed. Most people in these countries live in the cities. For example, 89% of people in the UK live in cities. So let's consolidate the work you've done today. Write the question and answer in your book. There is no model answer to these questions, so your teachers will be checking your work. And thank you very much for working through this lesson. Please press pause now to complete the answers.